Hi, this is Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo. It gives me great pleasure to go over with you our 2014 financial forecast for the Austin Police Department. The first slide I'm covering represents the current fiscal year 2013 general fund budget. On this slide, our budget is divided into the various activities within the department. The overall general fund budget is $284.4 million, including the mid-year amendment approved by Council earlier this year. The budget includes 1,714 sworn full-time police officers, 118 cadets, and 526 civilian full FTEs. You will see the largest allocation of our budget, 57%, is dedicated to neighborhood-based policing, followed by investigations at 16% and operational support at 15%. Professional standards and administrative support make up the remainder at 12%. Our actual budget also includes expense refunds of $10.8 million and grants of $6.3 million. Our key performance indicators are really key for us and for you. This slide reflects two of what are considered our most important performance measures. These include violent crime and property crime. Historically, the department has set goals based on the last available year of actual data, and this has caused our issues with when a single year has had an unusual upward or downward trend. For fiscal year 2014, the department is adjusting our targets to be based on the average of the last 5 years' actual results. You will see on this slide that the violent crime is at a 5-year low and property crime is not far behind. This is great news for all of us. Slide 4 includes the response time for emergency and urgent calls. In Austin, this time is based on 3 distinct segments. These include the time it takes for the 911 call to be answered, the time from answer to dispatch out to an officer, and the time until officers arrive on scene. The chart represents a combination of all 3. During fiscal year 2011, there were issues with timestamps in the system that tracked these times, which caused inaccurate data reporting that resulted in unrealistic goals for 2012. The goal based on the 5-year average will be set for 7 minutes and 31 seconds for fiscal year 2014. Every year, the city goes out and surveys our citizens to see how we are doing. As you will see on this slide, survey results conducted last year indicates that city satisfaction and citizen satisfaction with police services has remained higher than the national average in overall quality, speed of response, and traffic enforcement. On this slide, you see that the Austin citizens also feel safer in their neighborhoods both during the day and at night, and in our parks than those surveyed nationally. This is something we can all take a great deal of pride in. Slide 7 includes the baseline forecast for APD, which includes cost drivers totaling $14.4 million. The major cost drivers are health insurance, the addition of half-year funding for 47 new officer positions, as well as true-up for the previous half-year funding for 22 officer positions added in the current year. The new officer positions will be deployed to our various patrol regions for response to calls, community policing, and special initiatives. Currently, it's very important to note that the Austin Police Department's patrol uncommitted time is down to 15% of the total time. Nationally, in best case scenarios, uncommitted time should be anywhere from 20 to 30% and upwards to 50% of the officer's time. Also included is a projected increase in the Travis County booking interlocal agreement, annualized costs related to the mid-year adjustment approved by Council, and the transfer of equipment from one-time critical fund to our operational budget. On this slide, we show our revenue forecast. The revenue forecast includes a downward trend for fiscal year 2014. The trend comes mostly from 3 major revenue sources. These include the record fees that result from city contracted tows, alarm permit fees and false alarm fines, and the sale of police reports. Fewer fines aren't always a bad thing when it comes to that, when it means that officers are not spending time responding to false alarms or towing vehicles, because this allows them to spend more time proactively policing our city. Technology improvements have resulted in fewer sales of police reports at our stations, since citizens now have the ability to pull report information from our website and print it themselves. This saves our citizens time, it saves our civilian staff time, and most importantly, makes our environment much better since we have fewer trips for our citizens to take to our police facilities throughout the city. On this slide, you will see our fiscal year 14 capital highlights. On November 6, 2012, Proposition 17 for public safety facilities was approved by voters in the total sum of $31,079,000. It included 8 public safety projects. The 3 on this slide are related to the Austin Police Department. The mounted patrol item is for a structure only to replace a currently rented facility. The land was previously purchased in a previous budget year. The other two projects are funded to locate property, purchase property, and design facilities only. Now I'd like to go over the Austin Police Department's unmet needs. APD's unmet needs include upgrades to the baseline officers projected as part of the forecast. This provides the supervision and span of control necessary for the officers to ensure that they're conducting themselves in an efficient, effective manner, and most importantly, in a professional manner consistent with policy and the law. Another critical need is civilian support for the department. This was broken down into two separate requests for the prioritization process. The first group includes staff necessary for crime analysis and to implement business intelligence and data mining. These are critical to analyzing crime patterns and to use in deploying staff. Also included in this group are technology positions, victim services counselors, forensic staff, central record staff, and a civilian for developing training videos. The requests for both forensics and central records are critical to reduce backlogs in our cases. As we move forward in this budget year, we're hopeful to start addressing the PERF study recommendations. As such, the department is requesting that additional recommended officers be deployed over a 4-year period. Calculations which reduce the recommendation by the officers already provided in the baseline forecast and for fiscal year 2013 result in the request for a net 45 additional officers for fiscal year 2014. In the event that the additional 45 officers are approved, a portion of these officers will be deployed to continually maintain the public order initiative that was launched in 2012 using the redeployment of resources plus overtime for a 4-month period in our downtown business district, which resulted in a 34% decrease in crime within that time period. Another portion of those 45 officers will be used to create an additional nighttime shift within the Highway Enforcement Division. Last year, when we noticed that 25% of our fatality crashes were occurring on Sunday nights, we were able to utilize overtime to put together an 11-week initiative. During that 11-week initiative, the Austin Police Department is proud to report that we sustained 0 fatalities and over 100 drunk drivers were arrested by the men and women deployed. We strongly believe that with the 45 additional positions in addition to the 2.047 officer positions, we will be able to maintain the level of safety and service in our downtown area and reduce our fatality crashes throughout the city. Most importantly, by not redeploying officers from other parts of the city to deal with the hotspots in the downtown business district, which, as you all know, where a downtown stands in terms of safety, says a lot about the rest of the city and creates the perception of safety or lack of safety for the entire city and has an impact on our city. The other issue with this 45 is we hope to address our uncommitted time. As I said earlier, our uncommitted time last year was down to 15%. This simply is not sufficient time for officers to engage in the type of policing that the people of Austin expect and deserve. As I said earlier, a national standard for uncommitted time is anywhere from 20% to 50%, and the closer that we get to the 50% mark, the better chances are and the better our ability of conducting and operating truly in the spirit of community policing. The additional uncommitted time will give our officers the opportunity to engage in proactive policing, proactive patrolling, proactive traffic enforcement, and most importantly, will work as an incentive for people to not victimize our community, especially in our residential areas where we continue to have a great challenge as it relates to property crimes and the burglary of residences. We're very hopeful that the PERF study recommendations, which included 257 additional positions for the department, will start being chipped away at this budget year. Additionally, in addition to the uncommitted time, we hope that the additional officers will help us deal with the tremendous challenge of the many special events we have in our city. As we continue to build our downtown infrastructure, our hotel infrastructure, we completely understand, welcome, and hope to have many more visitors to our city. With these increased special events, including the increasing of South by Southwest from 5 days to 9 days, a second weekend of the ACL Festival, Halloween on 6th Street, first night, Texas relays, the Circuit of the Americas, F1, and all the events related to the Circuit of the Americas, We know that we are going to continue to have an increased workload, and we're very hopeful that with the perf study in hand and the workload in hand and the additional special events in hand, that the 45 positions will be approved. As you can see from this presentation, the Austin Police Department has needs. Those needs are not for us. They are for you, the men and women of this community, our children, our family, our relatives, and our neighbors. I hope that you find this presentation of value, and I look forward to hearing from you throughout the budget season.